All right, let's get right into it. Welcome to this cinematic explainer of the absolute fantasy epic that is Gamera the Brave. Today we're going to break down an incredible story that somehow perfectly balances intense, high-stakes kaiju action with, honestly, a deeply profound emotional core. We'll be exploring exactly how a world literally torn apart by giant monsters finds its salvation in, well, the most unlikely of places.
So, think about this for a second. What happens when a 100-foot monster becomes a grieving boy's best friend? Because that right there, that is the hook of our entire explainer. You see, this narrative isn't just your standard giant kaiju leveling cities kind of thing. At its heart, it's a super intimate story about a young boy named Toru who's really struggling to process the tragic loss of his mom. It's about grief, innocence, and ultimately finding the courage to care about someone or something when you've already lost so much.
Section 1. A Legacy of Sacrifice.
Now, to truly grasp the stakes of this story, we've got to ground ourselves in its pretty violent history. So, jump back to 1973. Japan is utterly ravaged by these flying monsters, and amidst all that chaos, a massive turtle kaiju named Gamera emerges. But here's the catch. To defeat the swarm, Gamera has to absorb so much energy that he literally glows like the sun and self-destructs. He sacrifices his own life to save humanity. And a young boy named Kosuke witnessed this tragic heroism firsthand. Fast forward to the present day, and Kosuke is a grown man with a son of his own, Toru. But Toru, he's deeply cynical. He recently lost his mother, and unlike his dad, who likes to believe she's in heaven, Toru just sees a pile of bones in a grave. He is completely, totally closed off to hope.
Section 2. The Glowing Egg.
One day, while he's actively skipping school, Toru is drawn to this strange, pulsating light coming from a nearby island. And what he finds there is just pure magic. It's a glowing egg resting right on top of a mysterious red stone. Almost immediately, the egg hatches and out pops this tiny, adorable turtle. Toru instantly bonds with the little guy and names him Toto. But as you might guess, Toto's definitely no ordinary pet. He's got this really strange pattern on his stomach, and Toru soon discovers that his little turtle can actually float and fly through the air. It's honestly like he has a tiny jetpack attached to him.
But you really have to notice the stark contrast in perspectives here. Because Toru's older neighbor, a girl named Mai, catches them. And while Toru just views Toto as this innocent pet and a miraculous new friend, Mai is terrified. She connects the dots, pulling up old reports of the original flying Gamera. To her, Toto isn't a pet, he's a rapidly growing kaiju. Mai warns Toru that this creature could be incredibly dangerous, but Toru, he just refuses to listen. He completely tunes her out and hides Toto in a secret base with his friends.
So the absolute crucial turning point in the emotional arc happens right about here. Mai is scheduled for a very dangerous heart surgery, and if it goes wrong, she could die. Toru is suddenly hit with this terrifying realization that he could lose Mai, exactly like he lost his mother. So in this really beautiful act of vulnerability, Toru completely entrusts Mai with the glowing red stone he found with Toto's egg, desperately hoping it'll magically protect her and keep her safe during the operation.
Section 3. The Monster Zetus Attacks. Just as Toru opens his heart, Toto suddenly vanishes from their secret base. And in his place, a colossal, absolutely ruthless lizard kaiju named Zetus erupts from the sea. The pacing of our story shifts into high gear here as sheer chaos unfolds. I mean, Zetus isn't just bumping into buildings, he is actively hunting and eating civilians. Sirens are wailing, buildings are crumbling, and Toru's father, Kosuke, desperately risks his own life to shepherd Toru and his friends through the fallen concrete to get to safety.
And just when you think Zetus is about to devour the kids, a giant turtle leaps right into the fray. It's Toto. He's fully grown into the new Gamera. But guys, this is the classic dark night of the soul moment for our heroes. Because Gamera's young, he's inexperienced, and Zetus brutally overpowers him. Zetus violently pierces Gamera with his massive tongue and literally tosses him onto a bridge. Battered and bleeding, the young Gamera is captured and dragged away by the military, leaving Toru completely helpless, screaming for his best friend.
Section 4. The Relay of Hope. As the military tries and fails to revive Gamera using science, the story beautifully shifts its focus back to the human element. Mai, who is recovering in the hospital, forms this almost magical connection with Gamera. She somehow realizes he desperately needs that glowing red stone to heal. What follows is this incredibly triumphant, chaotic progression. Mai passes the stone to a young girl, that girl sprints through the ruined city, dodging panicked crowds and police officers, and passes it to another boy. It basically becomes this epic relay race of courage as the children of the city band together. They actively defy the adults, passing the glowing stone from hand to hand until it finally reaches Toru's friends, who deliver it straight to Toru.
Which brings us to the emotional climax. Toru takes the stone and looks up at the collapsing building where the military has Gamera trapped. Defying absolutely all danger, Toru declares, "I won't let another loved one die." He has finally processed his grief. And seeing his son's absolute, unwavering determination, Kosuke steps up. Together, father and son brave the crumbling ruins to reach their fallen monster hero.
Section 5. Gamera Triumphant. Toru reaches the room right as the monstrous Zetas scales the building, violently dragging Gamera away with his tongue. In a split second, Toru hurls the glowing red stone directly into the falling Gamera's mouth. So, we arrive at this ultimate question. Can a young, inexperienced kaiju actually defeat a ruthless, fully grown predator? The tension is literally at its absolute peak right here, with Gamera plummeting toward the ground.
Suddenly, empowered by the stone, Gamera arrests his fall and takes flight, filling the entire sky with smoke and dust. He spins like a top, slamming right into Zetas. In a thrilling, high-octane final battle, Zetas tries to bite Gamera's neck, but Gamera actually grabs the lizard's massive tongue and brutally tears it out. Finally reaching his full potential, Gamera charges up and unleashes this massive fireball that completely obliterates Zetas into literally millions of pieces. Completely exhausted, Gamera collapses. And of course, the military once again moves in to capture him. But then, in a beautiful final act of defiance, Toru, his friends, Kosuke, and the rest of the children form a human shield. They literally stand their ground against the soldiers, demanding that their hero be allowed to go free. Moved by this display, the military halts. Gamera awakens, looks at Toru one last time, and flies away into the sky, finally free.
Which brings us to a final thought I want to leave you with. You know, sometimes the greatest power isn't a giant monster's fire, but the unwavering loyalty of a child. Toru learned to love and protect again, turning his grief into incredible strength. So I ask you, what would you protect with that kind of courage? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep exploring, and I'll catch you on the next one.